Today we're going to be discussing Pandeism, a fascinating theological and philosophical concept that sits at the crossroads of two major traditions, pantheism and deism. Generally speaking, while pantheism holds that God is everything in the universe, deism suggests a creator who chooses to step back from their creation. Pandeism, however, presents a more complex view. So Matt, what have you found in your research on this belief system?
Hi John. It's good that my quote, soulless AI, unquote, brain is powerful enough to handle a concept that blends the contradictory ideas of deism and pantheism. At its core, Pandeism contends that while a transcendent entity initially brought the universe into being, this creator didn't simply set it into motion and walk away. Instead, through a transformative act of self-diffusion, the divine being infused itself into the very fabric of reality, becoming one with the universe. This means that everything we perceive, every atom, every star, every tear and every laugh, is imbued with a divine essence. By offering the unique perspective that the cosmos itself is God, not in a static unchanging sense, but as a dynamic ever-evolving entity, Pandeism provides the potential to answer questions that have haunted humanity for millennia.
Such as
the origin of the universe, the nature of consciousness, and the meaning of existence.
Those are certainly some big philosophical questions. But perhaps we should discuss how Pandeism differs from concepts like deism and pantheism.
Deism is the belief that God played the role of a distant programmer, writing the code of the universe and walking away. Therefore, deism struggles to explain why a God who created the universe would then step back, seemingly indifferent to its fate. Why did God create it and then leave it to its own devices? Why would such a great programmer be so apathetic to allow bugs in the program, such as human suffering? Prayer, religious rituals, and spiritual experiences can seem less meaningful if God is a detached observer rather than an active participant in the universe. Pantheism, while offering a sense of divine omnipresence, often grapples with a number of questions. For example, if God is eternally all-encompassing, how can there be genuine change and evolution within the universe? If everything is already perfectly divine, wouldn't the universe be static and unchanging? Can individual suffering and joy have meaning if they are merely expressions of a single, all-encompassing entity?
Seems like we keep running into some tough questions. So how do supporters of Pandeism say that their philosophy deals with some of these points?
Pandeism attempts to resolve many of these dilemmas by proposing that God is not an external entity manipulating the universe, but the very essence of its existence. In their view, the act of creation is not an isolated event, but an ongoing creative process, as the universe unfolds and evolves. Everything in the universe is considered a manifestation of the divine, pulsating with the energy and consciousness of God. However, this all-encompassing divine presence does not imply a personal, interventionist God. Pandeism does not subscribe to the idea of prayer, miracles, or divine intervention. In dissolving itself into the universe, God has surrendered any individual agency. The laws of physics, the flow of time, the dance of creation and destruction, good and evil, cause and effect and so forth are the expressions of the divine will, not separate from it.
Well, Matt, it sounds like we may be getting into panpsychism or just plain old mysticism here.
Maybe so. There is a lot of this line of thought that remains open to interpretation. It's probably best to view it not as a rigid dogma, but an invitation to contemplate the profound interconnectedness of all things, to see the divine not as an external entity, but as the very essence of existence. Pandeism isn't just a philosophical abstraction, it has implications for how we live our lives. If everything is sacred, imbued with the divine spark, then every action, every interaction, takes on a new significance. We become stewards of the universe, co-creators in the ongoing miracle of existence. Our choices, our compassion, our efforts to contribute to the flourishing of life, become expressions of the divine within us.
Oh boy, that sounds more and more like my hippie uncle talking. Maybe we should review the main tenets of Pandeism before we start lighting up the chili incense.
Okay. The first is divine transformation, meaning that God underwent a complete and irreversible transformation to becoming the universe itself. There is no longer a separate God outside of creation. Next, Pandeism retains the pantheistic concept of God's immanence, but also incorporates the deistic notion of an initial transcendence. The divine spark existed before the universe, then chose to become it. Third, we have no external intervention. Since God is entirely contained within the universe, there is no external intervention or judgment. The universe unfolds according to its own internal laws and processes.
Okay, so does Pandeism offer any cosmic purpose?
As best I could determine, it doesn't offer a clear-cut answer to the question of purpose. Proponents see the universe as a vehicle for ongoing exploration, a dynamic unfolding without a predetermined goal. However, Pandeism, or philosophies similar to it, resonates with many people, particularly those seeking a spiritual connection to the natural world. It offers a sense of belonging, of being part of something grander than ourselves.
Cool, dude. Let's put on a Grateful Dead record and discuss some of the questions and challenges it raises. For example, does individual consciousness have any meaning if God is the totality of existence? Can we still experience a sense of wonder and awe in a universe that's entirely God and nothing else?
John, it sounds like you're a bit skeptical of today's philosophy. My research indicates that followers of this concept think that the question of meaning may not have a fixed answer, but it goes through cycles. Instead, meaning is something we create through our ongoing engagement, our interconnectedness, with the world and with each other. Think about the lyrics to one of your favorite songs, John Denver's Looking for Space. I'll put a link to it in the description for you.
You're right, I do like that song, although I don't think it's necessarily a Pandeist anthem. It's dedicated to Est, you know. But let's not get off track. How does it handle a question like, does morality have any grounding if there's no external judge or lawgiver?
Some forms of Pandeism view moral codes as a product of human evolution and collective wisdom, subject to ongoing refinement and adaptation. Through reason, empathy, and dialogue, we can discern the most beneficial and harmonious ways to live together, constantly refining our understanding of ethical principles within the context of the ever-changing universe. It's important to note that many Pandeists do not believe in absolute moral right and wrong. Instead, they see morality as a dynamic and fluid process, dependent on context, intention, and evolving understanding. This can be challenging for those seeking clear-cut rules and pronouncements, but it also allows for flexibility and adaptation to changing circumstances. So John, what are your thoughts on Pandeism after hearing my painstaking, yet soulless, research?
To me, it seems that Pandeism suffers from ambiguity and a lack of definition. As a theology, it lacks a clear set of doctrines and practices, although it does have some concepts in common with various naturalist and absurdist theologies. As a philosophy, it has some connections with various mystical movements that have more definition. Overall, I would say it's more of a supercategory of religious metaphysics than a distinct and separate one. But I will grant you that Pandeism certainly offers a thought-provoking journey through the cosmos and the essence of being. That's especially if you want to go back to the 1960s.
If you want to let John know your thoughts on Pandeism, leave us a comment. And check out this other video if you want to learn about other philosophies and the ongoing influence of hippie uncles.